Hello, everybody. Oh, missed click right from the start. How's everyone doing today? Oh, I keep losing my mouse. There it is. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here today. Thank you for being flexible and switching to our MFT class today. Thank goodness Kelly Kahoot is okay, but she's without internet. And so we did a little swap and fingers crossed she has it up and running tomorrow. My heart goes out to everybody who was in the path of this terrible storm. I'm in the Atlanta area, and I was worried. I didn't know what was going to happen, and thankfully it went a little east of us, but that's worse for so many other people. So my heart goes out to Florida and the Carolinas and everyone who's been impacted by it. So we are doing a sympathy card class today, actually, which in a way is somewhat fitting. And it's my second time doing sympathy cards here at the awesome SCT Craft and Create Delivered event. Thank you again to Catherine for including me this time. I'm so thrilled to be a part of this amazing event. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I kind of peek into all the other classes as well, because just like you all, I love to see what all the other teachers are doing because they're all so amazing and wonderful. So my sister-in-law, Lori, is here in the room with me. I'm going to try to watch the comments as I go and not miss things, but if you put your questions, as you know, put question in capitals to help my eyes see it, that would be great. Sound is funky. Is it funky for everybody? I don't know what to do about that. I'll wait and see if there's others that say that, but I actually don't even know what to do if it is funky. Let's see, strange audio. Let's see, sound is garbled. Catherine, text me, is that happening? It's robotic. Huh. I have no idea what would cause that. Oh my gosh, you guys, that makes me sad. Sound is strange, but you can hear me. Good here. I don't know. Guys, I'm just going to continue because I don't know what to do about that, honestly. Is it better if I'm over here? I'm wondering if you're hearing me from a different microphone. You can make out what you're saying. Oh gosh, I apologize, guys. I hate to have anything go wrong with this, and I don't know why my sound would be weird, but we're just gonna keep going, and hopefully you guys can hear me enough for it to make sense. No, my sister does not have sound on, and I have everything else muted. Let's see. Oh gosh. Okay. Well, anyway, I don't want to dwell on this because we got to get going on this class. Try moving it further from you. I don't even know. All right. I'm going to go ahead and go to my overhead. I have a different, I'm going to do something here. You guys just hold with me for 1 second. I did something a little bit different this time. And I'm going to see if maybe that's what's causing it. Give me 1 second. Okay, guys. Okay, guys. Can you hear me now? Please, I hope. This is not normal. I am so sorry, everybody. I don't usually have these issues. Can you hear me now? And does it sound okay? I'm back. Okay. Gosh, goodness gracious. Sorry, sorry, sorry. I apologize so much for that. Okay. So we're good to go. I'm going to go back to my overhead. I see some people are saying that it's perfect now. And hopefully those who don't hear me, it was a delay in your comment. All right. Whew, what a start to a switched up class. Luckily, I think my class won't take the whole time. So we're going to go ahead and go to my overhead and get going with this class. Yay. Okay. So this is the die cutting that I had you do ahead of time. And I hope everything is good now. And I learned a big lesson. Woo. Okay. I had all these different inks colors listed on my homework, and I'm just going to, okay, I'm not going to worry about what I'm seeing. I'm just going to keep going. I had colors on the list of supplies, and that was for inking up cardstock to do our die cutting in these colors. But the only ones we're actually going to be using today in class are the dark blue and the 2 shades of green. So if you want to put those other inks away, if you have them out and ready to go, these are the 3 that we're going to need, as well as a black ink pad. And you should have hopefully done all your die cutting already. You could have used regular cardstock, but I did it with the inking because we had lots of white cardstock to use in this class. And we're going to start with the black images and start with card number 1. So I'm going to set this aside for now. In addition, for card number 1, we need to have our black base panel, our blue plaid for the background, a 4x6 piece, and then 2 little white panels. Okay. And what we're going to start out by doing is getting out a score tool. So hopefully you have a scoreboard of some sort. Grabbing mine from down below. The colors of ink are whatever you have. That is a light green, a dark green, and a blue. I am using MFT inks, but I had lots of information in the group about different substitutions you could do. But basically a light green, a dark green, and a blue that go well with the pattern paper that came in your kit, okay? As well as a black to do some messages. All right, so if we're all ready to go, we're gonna take our 4x6 piece of cardstock, all right? And we're gonna score it on our scoreboard at the 3-inch mark. So we're basically going along the 6-inch side and doing it at 3 inches. Now, when you score and fold, you always want that little valley of the score mark to be the mountain as you fold it, if that makes sense. Because what you're doing is you're making the paper have a gap there, and that makes it easier to make a nice fold. So I'm going to go ahead and take my little, what question are the small white panels? One little tip for that is it's all laid out in your wonderful book that SCT puts together, all right? But the white panels are 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. But all those measurements are in your book, and it's a great thing great thing to refer to. I don't see the green in the cardstock for card 1. No, I'm sorry. The green is not for card 1. I was just telling you what you're going to need in class in general. Our card 1 that we're making is only blues and blacks and whites, okay? Are we all good? The black piece is A2 size, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. The blue is a little bit smaller to make it a matte, which is 4 by 5 1/4. And again, this is all in the homework part of the guidebook, okay? And then we have our 2 little things here. So what we're going to be doing with this is one of them is going to go on the front of our little baby card that we made, basically. The 4x6 panel is scored at 3 inches. So along the 6-inch side, you scored it at 3 inches, okay? And again, if you are, if you started a little late, you can always hit the live button to catch up to live, which you wouldn't know until you get to this point. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and attach this one on the inside of my little panel. All right. Yeah, didn't know the button trick yet. Hit the live button if you fall a little behind, and you can also pause and rewind when you're on YouTube Lives, which is really handy. If you get behind and you don't want to forge ahead with me, you could always go back and repeat, and then you could catch up later. So that live button is a very handy trick to have. All right, I'm going to grab out my wonderful ink stand. I think I may have seen my friend Brianne here in the comments. And I'm going to do a little bit of ink blending now with this darker of the blue inks, okay? So I'm going to grab a blending brush here and just go ahead and do some blending. I can see my cardstock's a little chewed up. I didn't get the nicest piece. Okay, so what we're doing with our blending is we want to start at the bottom with the darkest amount of ink, and we're just going to blend up and soften it up as we go and fade into white. So you don't want to do this whole piece white, whole piece blue. Sorry, my brain needs to get in thinking mode. I don't know if you guys were in LDRS class yesterday, but I said how our brains stop working when we go live, and Angie's husband made it sound like I was saying that Angie's brain stopped working, but I meant everyone. It was pretty funny. All right, so that's what we want to do, is just this nice gradual blue from dark at the bottom up to white, basically, okay? And so that's going to be our first part of our card. Isn't that pretty? And most of the inks that you might have probably smooth out as they dry. So if it's looking a little splotchy, it might even get better looking as we go. Let me see. I think I lost my towel I usually use, but that's okay. I have a baby wipe here. I'm going to just clean off my mat real quick. I'll set that aside. Lori to the rescue. She just brought me a towel. It's nice having somebody in the room with me. That doesn't usually happen. And so the ink that I used again is the Blue Beyond from MFT, which is a really beautiful color of dark blue, but any blues would work. And then this is a bit of a water reactive ink. And what I did, which you can do, this is optional. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. It's totally fine. Is I took a little bit of water, and I'm doing it in my hand because I forgot to get a little thing of it. And I just splattered some on like that. And I just made a great big spot there, but that's okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and towel that off. So you can see that looks very different than the one I did on my card before. So you can decide if you want to do this or not. And Lori just brought me another spray bottle, but I have one of those. Thank you. Another thing you could do if you didn't want to do the water spots like I just did is you have this bleed proof white possibly that you used in Taylor's class. You could use any kind of white splatter, or you can just forget it altogether. But mine looks pretty bad. Don't do what I just did. That's funny. Oh my goodness. It's because I didn't have my usual paintbrush and I should have just paused for a second, but all right. And I dried that so I can do some stamping on it. Okay. How are we all doing? Mine is super, super splotchy on this one. It's so funny how it goes, you know, I did the exact same thing and look at how different it looks, but whatever. It's the joys of live teaching, right? So if I was doing it with a paintbrush, just so you know, I would get my paintbrush a little wet and then I would just go tap, 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 and I'd probably get smaller little droplets. Or you could do white splatter, or you could just forget the splatter altogether. But I just love the little bit of extra something it puts down there in the card, okay? All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my message. So I'm going to grab my Misty tool here. Just get everything situated so you guys can see what I'm doing. Inkstand moved, towel moved. And I have a Misty with one of those sticky mats in it, which I think is great to use. This is still a little bit wet. Make sure yours is completely dry or else your black ink is gonna smear. That edge where I really splatted it is still a little bit wet. A fine mist bottle is great too. I agree. All right. Hopefully that is good enough. And the message I use, so this kit came with a beautiful, beautiful message set that I think you guys are going to love using again and again. Well, you know, when you have to have these kind of sad messages, but great to send to family and friends when you need to. Has my shoulders here for you to lean on. Please know that you are not alone. I'm holding you close in my thoughts. I hope you're doing okay. My heart breaks for you. I have no words, and hugs. So really, really beautiful message set. And keep an eye out. Hopefully in the near future, there will be a coordinating die set to go with this. I'm not sure when that will happen, and I will post in the group when or if it does, because that would make this even more handy to have. All right. It's stuck to my thing. All right, and this is where I'm coming in with the black ink. It doesn't matter what black ink you use. Any black ink is going to be great, whatever you like to stamp your messages with. And I have one of these cute little tools for rubbing on my Misty door to put some even pressure. This is from Scrappy Chic, which is a store in Michigan, which I'm originally from Michigan, and it's a really great store owned by great people. And you may know it from Jen Shirkus teaches there. Well, she teaches there, and she also has them kit for her classes. Could you blend more ink to soften the splatters? I'm sure you could, because that would put more ink on top of that. If you want to give that a try, that's an interesting thought. Maybe I'll even do that after I get this message done to give it a try. So there we go. There's my heart breaks for you. I do want to make sure that my black isn't at all still wet, though, if I'm going to blend over it, because that could smear it. We don't want that either. All right, I'm going to go ahead and clean my stamp as we go. And I like to clean stamps with a bit of Ultra Clean and a towel. That's how I usually do it. Oh yeah, like, where did I put my stamp set? I put it up on my little phone stand I have here, which is kind of funny. I should give you guys a behind the scenes of this chaos where I'm where I'm teaching from. And then when I put, well, actually, no, stop, pause. We're not going to put it on the card yet. We're now going to build our little flower display on this, okay? So get your flowers out, all your pieces. I'll leave this here as a little guide for how we're going to do this. And I mentioned that when you're doing these little bitty pieces, it might be handy to have some kind of pickup tool. Like I have this one from Pink and Maine. I also like to use this one, which is, I don't even know. This is a jewel picker from Marvy. It's been around a long time. Gina has a great one that's just like this, the same kind of layout with the wax and the picker on the end. So anything like this is great. I also am going to be using a fine tip glue. I have my Barely Art glue, but anything with a fine precision tip for some of these teeny tiny pieces we're doing will be handy. And I am going to go ahead and just start putting them out and arranging them. Feeling a little shaky. I need to calm my hands down. And some of you may want to have tweezers for this. This pick and place is going to be even more handy when we're putting the teeny tiny flowers on this one. We're not doing that on this one, but we will in a bit. Now, one thing I wanted to point out with this, I think I may have mentioned in my class as well, these little hearts, we also just decided they could be cute little flowers. A weird flower, a little heart flower, but nonetheless, or you could put a couple together to make a different kind of flower as well. So that's just what I'm using on a couple of these, and it kind of puts some cute hearts in here and just makes it nice. I already had that one there. Oh, Libby. So let's kind of get a little feel for where you're going to want everything to be. Okay. And I have one stem coming up for this and that one as well, where I think I went ahead and cut off the leaves to make it not so leafy everywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and take my scissors. Let's see here. Are these my sticky ones? No, these are good. And trim those off. Which I don't think I even mentioned on the instructions, but that is what I did. Just to make them look like different stems, but to have some stems on those flowers. Okay, am I kind of off the camera a little? All right, so we can go ahead and put a little dot of glue on the ones we just trimmed and add the 5 leaf or the 5 petal flower. Okay, do that on the other one as well. Now this is a good time to have your book handy and have it out to kind of look at the layout of all this as well. It might make it, easier. I'll walk us through it, but it also might be easy to have that in front of you to look at as well. All right, I'm going to put hearts on these flowers. And if you have something heavy that you can put on top of them, that can be helpful as well. Making sure I'm not missing anything over there. There's my other heart. I'm like, where's my heart? I lost my heart. And I mentioned in the comments before this started, yeah, press and seal to the rescue. That is a good point. This would have been a good time to make your layout and then pick it up with press and seal, and then you can just put it right back down where you had it. Good thought. But I like to do things the hard way, apparently. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start with one of these 7 bud ones that in my homework and throughout the instructions I refer to as having 8, but that's just because I can't count, apparently. It's kind of funny. So when I put glue on little tiny things like this, I put little dots all over because what was I going to say? It doesn't take much of these strong glues to hold things in place. So if you put little dots, it's going to hold your things down just perfectly. Dot, 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 dot. I'm going rogue here. I had my little layout and now I'm just putting things down. We'll see how it turns out. I also have, let's see here. Where are we at in the live? We are in the middle of making card number 1 and gluing all these little flowers to our panel that we put blue ink on and then splattered or not. I made big splatters on this one. I had smaller splatters on my original. I'm really looking at what I'm gluing here, Lori. So if there's any other questions, let me know. Yes, I wanted to do one card. Thank you, Kathy, by the way. That was more, how do you want to say, sympathy looking, I guess, with the darker colors and the black. But then the other ones, I wanted to make some fun, colorful flowers as well. So we did a little of both on this. And chances are good this is not going to look exactly like my original, but that is okay. However you want to arrange your flowers. I'm going to put that in there, and I'm actually going to trim off this end. You can edit your stems like I did with the leaves, or if they're too long, just edit it by cutting something off. All right. It does kind of look like tears. The splats, Miss Crystal said they kind of look like tears. That's true. And Tammy likes my big water splat, so good. I did it on purpose. I meant to do that. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. All right, so these are my leaves that I cut off, so I'm going to set those aside so I don't confuse myself. Then I had you cut out some of these other leaves just because I wanted to have some of these down at the bottom because I thought they were pretty. Just kind of fill it out as well. Stick to my finger. And I'll hold this up closer to the camera as soon as I get some of this on here. Put that down again. And another thing we're going to use on this is a white gel pen, or I like to use a Posca pen, which is an acrylic paint pen. So once I get more of this done, we're going to go ahead and pull that out. See, on this, my stems are in a little bit different place. So I just put that leaf here instead of where it was originally on the third one over, but it's all good. Wait, it was originally on the that one, actually. Okay. Over here. And then I do still have this little guy that I had here on my original. Maybe not as balanced as my first one. What do you think? Maybe I'll move him over there. I think I will. And these flowers are little, but they're just so pretty, and I love them. All right, so I'm gonna let that glue dry for just a second here. Find my pin, which I lost. There it is. And then we're gonna get ready to just add a little bit of white embellishment to this, and then we'll be able to put it on our card, okay? Yeah, I think MFT has done many, many beautiful message sets, and this is one of many that they've done. Here's a little closer look of where we are with this. And this is the white gel pen. Well, this is an acrylic paint pen I'm using. I love to use these Posca pens, but if you have a white gel pen, that works as well. I don't know if you all know, or if you were in my meet and greet, or if you just know in general, but I had worked for MFT, and I'm actually not with them any longer, but I love them, and I love Kim and the company, and I wish them all the best, and I'm happy to still be here representing them. And when I was there, we would have, we have a new message set come out. I can give you a little behind the scenes info. And it was just a text thread between all of us where we'd be like brainstorming messages for different stamp sets. And it was just fun to see the creative process and how, what everyone would come up with. So I have had some of my suggestions for messages and sets, and that's fun. All right, so what I'm doing here, with my white pen, I'm putting just little dots on the little buds and in the flower centers. Catherine, or Meg, is it Catherine in STT magazine today? Anyway, she mentioned that there is a nice white gel pen in your picket fence kit. That's perfect, perfect, perfect. So yes, Jennifer is saying that one of her all-time favorite Sympathy sets is from MFT. They've had some great ones over the years, and they've had pet Sympathy as well, which I love. Well, I don't love that anybody needs that, but it's a good thing to have. Dot, dot, dot. All right, I think that is everything. So are you with me on that? My super splatters on there. Oh, Angie, a lot of pet Sympathy. Yeah, the blue is dreamy, isn't it, Jennifer? I know you're a blue fan of the blue. All right, so when I put this on my card, I actually popped up that little panel. The other thing I wanted to mention about this that I failed to at the beginning is if you think this is weird, having a little card on your card, I just thought it'd be something fun and different. But if you don't like that, you don't need to do that. You can just take this panel, cut this in half, mat it, and then just put it flat on your card. And then you could put it on a card base. But instead of a card base, mine is just this panel, and then you would write your message in here. But if you want to change that up, you're more than welcome to. I just like to give some different fold options on my cards. I think it's fun. I don't know. Am I allowed to say fun in a Sympathy card class? I don't know. I think I am. And there's a lot of fun fold type cards throughout this event, which I love. Love, love, love. All right. And one thing I always love to do when I'm using foam is I just put a little liquid glue on the foam just because it gives me more wiggle room. How did that block just in the 2 seconds? And I had a pin in there too. I would be lost without that pin. I use it all the time to get my glue flowing. All right. I'm going to center it on here, which I'm very bad at centering, which is why I love the liquid glue, so I can move it when I screw it up. Yeah, so again, just make sure you see all those pen accents and how I did them. Just simple. You could always put little gems or different things in your flower centers if you wanted to. I wanted to keep this one somewhat simple. I think our class is called Simply Sympathy, so got to have some of it simple. I'm going to just put this blue plaid panel on my black base. Centered as best I can. And then this is just going to go on that. I just went right off the edge with that one. And I know that gel pens are generally wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. But I sometimes struggle with a white gel pen, and I just love this Posca pen because it never, ever fails me. It always works until I wear it out. Yes, MFT has wonderful pattern papers as well, several different pattern paper pads. So, all right, so that is the card. Kind of fun. And I just wanted to show you, oh, Sunny's asking me how long it takes for them to dry up. I don't know. I've had this one a long time and have made a lot of dots and marks on my cards, and it's still working. So I just wanted to show you an alternative, like just to show this layout of a card in some other kind of format. And again, here's another one of those wonderful MFT plaids. So I made the same sort of layout of a card with something completely different, just to show you that I, can use it on other cards as well. It can be a little layout for your stash to have. This is a Pure Innocence image from MFT that I colored. On this one, I did do the white splatters with the bleed proof white, and then also some blue splatters, but just to show you another way to do it. Totally different, not anything you have in your kit, obviously, but just to show you a different MFT card. Okay. All right, how are you guys doing? Did you keep up? Are we ready to move on? You want to take a beat, as spellbinders like to say? I love that way of saying it. Take a beat. Let's see. So cute. All right, thank you guys. Okay. So next we're going to be getting out the things for this card when you're ready. This one, you're definitely going to want your little pickup tool of some sort, if possible, for those little blue flowers that we're going to put on there. Putting my pin back in my glue. And this one, we don't need any ink. Well, no, I'm sorry, I lied. We need our black ink, but we don't need the other inks yet. And this is our die cuts for this one. Okay, we have our cute little mason jar. We have all these little blue flowers that we're going to build on these pieces. And then we have some leaves. Now you'll see on this card, one of my leaves, I just folded down to come down on the front of my little mason jar. Oh, yes, Stephanie, we need blue ink for our mason jar edges. Thank you. Thank you for helping me teach this class. I forgot about that. So we are going to need blue ink. And honestly, if you're like me and like Shari Moss, but not like Jen Cherkis, there's probably still some blue ink in your brush that you used for your blending before. And that's probably enough to get that blue edge on that mason jar. That's probably what I'm going to start with. But you might need to ink up your tool if it doesn't have, but you only need the slightest bit of ink to do that little bit around the edges. Okay. All right. So for this one, again, I did another funky fold on this one. And this is, again, something that you can use on different cards. But and again, I want to say, if it's weird to you to have a little accordion on a Sympathy card, you don't have to do that. You could just make one panel and put this on top of it, glued down, rather than having a belly band and then a Z-fold card. Okay. So this is what we're doing. This is why we have all those little pieces of pattern paper that we cut out. And I do love the pattern papers that we have in this kit. I think they're so pretty. All these different Sympathy plaids. All right, and we're going to do the I hope you're doing okay message. We're going to do hugs on our mason jar. Let me look at the class instructions, because you might want me to go somewhat in order of what I said on there. So what we are going to start with is the cardstock that we cut to 11 inches, the craft cardstock, which was in your kit, and then we cut it to 11 by 5.5. So 5.5 by 11, okay? And we need to have our scoring tool again. And in the instructions, I only said where to score, but I'm gonna change it up just a little, just so that not the measurements, don't worry. I'm just gonna flip this over as I do it, just because, like I mentioned, you want that the little divot you make, the little valley that you make in your cardstock should be where you fold. You should fold away from that. And so we're going to flip this over as we score it so that those little fold lines are on the right side of the cardstock, if that makes sense. And it's just every other. So we're going to start at 1 1/4. And again, this is in your book. It's step 1 on card 2 are these measurements that I'm doing. So to make sure that you get them in the right place. All right, we're going to start by scoring at 1 1/4. I like to go over it a few times just to make sure it's a nice, good, score line. What am I trying to say? Ooh, Kim said, bury the bump. I love that. That's a great way to remember it. So on the back, when you do that scoring, you get this bump. And when you fold it, you're going to fold away from that and bury the bump. So that's perfect. I love it. All right. And then I'm going to flip it over and do the 4 inches. So now we're at 4 inches on the opposite side of my cardstock. Okay. And then I'm going to flip it one more time. And on this one, it's going to be at 6 3/4, which on my score tool is right at the very, very end of the board. If you have a smaller board and you cannot get to 6 3/4, you just turn it around and you do it at 4 1/4 instead. It'll be at the same place. So if you don't have a long enough score tool to get to 6 3/4, instead you could do it at 4 1/4 from the other end. Okay. Okay. Ah, look at what I did, you guys. Oh, you can't see. It's not going to focus. Anyway, I missed my score line the second time I went. Oh my goodness. I have a stray line on mine now. Don't do what I did. All right. So now we're going to bury the bump. We're going to fold away from the divot, the valley. Okay. Any questions on what I did with that? I just did the score measurements that are in the book, but I flipped it back and forth as I did them. Okay. And now I'm going to bury that bump. I love that saying. Thank you guys for teaching me. I love it. And yes, I can try to press that stray line out. That's true. Okay. And I'm just going back and forth with these and just folding them the way it tells me. But I will show all this in a second here. There's my little bump I'm going to try to smooth out. All right. And so this is what we end up with. All right. Are you guys with me on all this? Pretty easy, but it's a fun fold that you can use for other things, right? Credit goes to Trisha at Scrap Club. Club Scrap. All right. Thank you, Trisha. Whoever you are. I love it. Okay. All right. So I'm going to hope that you're with me on that. And that's great. And now we're going to start attaching our pattern paper that we cut in our homework to this card. Okay. And I think I saw somebody in one of the classes said, or in the group said they don't love craft, so they switched it up. Of course, you could do that on this as well. If you don't want to have a craft base, feel free to use a different color cardstock. I am never offended by such things. So let me grab all of my little panels here. That's for later, so I won't grab that yet. And you can kind of see where these will go, right? Confused on score marks. Okay, if you're confused, you can forget everything I said about turning it up, over, upside down, and back and forth. But the score lines are at 1 1/4, 4 inches, and 6 3/4. The thing I said about 4 1/4 was only if you don't have a big enough score tool, okay? And then when you fold them, you're just going to fold it every other so that you have this little piece folding in, folding to make a valley, a mountain, and a valley. I think is how I said it in the homework. So you can see this is how we want it to be. A little distorted W is what we want to end up with, and that makes our card. The reason I had you flip it back and forth as you were scoring was just to make it the best scores and folds possible, but you don't have to. On my original card, I didn't even do that. I just folded the wrong way. So just try scoring your piece at 1 1/4, 4 inches, and 6 3/4, which is step 1 in card 2. Okay. And you should hopefully get to the same place I'm at. All right. So now we're going to start putting our papers on here to decorate. I'm going to start with my little smallest strip, which I can read these off if we'd like, is a 1 by 5 1/4 inch piece. And that's going to go on this first flap. And you're just trying to center it so that you have even spacing as much as possible around it. Okay. Now I wanted to decorate this piece as well, since it would kind of be seen on the inside of my card. So I just did the same cardstock again. It's that same, what did I just say? 1 inch by 5 1/4. And all of these paper measurements are in the homework section of my instructions. So refer to your book if you haven't already cut them. Trying to line it up is always the fun part. Okay. So now have it on both of those sides. Brienne, you've never made a fun fold card? Goodness. Brienne is more of a mixed media icon. You're an icon, Brienne. Since I get to be the one talking out loud, I can talk about how much more shirk merch I have than Brienne, and she can do nothing about it except for maybe comments in there. That's a joke we have. If you guys are like, what is she talking about? It's our Jen Shirkus gear, our shirts that we love to wear. All right. I think I'm a little not balanced, not even with my spacing, but oh, well, whatever. It's homemade, right? Then I'm going to put this big one here. Let's see, Karen, hello friend. Do not remind me that it's a couple thousand friends, because that will freak me out and make me terrified. I'm just talking to a couple of you, right? That's all that's here is just a couple of people watching me. Oh no, Brianne's wearing her shirk merch today and I'm not. Brianne is the inkstand icon. That's right. You guys should all know Brianne because she makes these literally at her house. I don't know if you guys realize that. Her heart goes into every one of these. And so it's the greatest tool. I love it. Love it so much. All right. So this is where we're at with this. This panel isn't here yet because we're going to do a little stamping on it. So let me remember what I put on it. I hope you are doing okay. I could free range stamp it with a block, but I have a feeling I would mess it up. So I'm going to go ahead and grab out my Misty again. Okay, grab my message. And of course, you could change up the messages. If you don't want to use the I hope you are doing okay, you could switch it. The bigger ones are not going to fit. So you do need to use one of them that fits in there. And I hope you're doing okay fits really well. Oh, and of course, if you have something in your stash you would rather use, that's fine too. I think in the instructions I said like, the top of the message is approximately 1 3/4 down from the top of the panel. If you're worried about that, you could measure it, but you know, just eyeball it and put it where you want. And the idea is also in this card that where you would write your message to the person would be here. So if you wanted to have this up higher so you'd have more room to write, you could switch that up as well. So however you want to do it, it's your card. However you want to do your card. Okay. All my stamps are sticking to my paper. I have the sticky mat in here and it's not keeping it down, but that's okay. And I'm using black ink to stamp. I hope you are doing okay. And I am doing it a couple times just to make it as black as I want it. Okay. Oh, I'll wear my shirk merch tomorrow. Don't you worry. I was commenting on Jess's message there. I should be putting some of your messages up on the screen when I comment on them, but you know, that would take too much work. I don't have a Tom in the dark space of my room or whatever they call it. So I was joking to maybe it was to Jen and Brianne that my my staff here to help me with my live streams is me, myself, and I. We're a team of 3. But I do have Lori in the room with me, so that's a treat. That is a treat. Okay. Dead Space. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I forgot. I've watched her a million times, but I forget things. I know we could all use a Tom or Cody. Isn't that the truth? Okay. I also put one of the little blue hearts that we made down here. Let's see. I stamped a piece that is, it's in the homework, in the number 2 homework. It's the white piece that is 2.5 by 5 1/4. And I stamped, I hope you are doing okay on it. And I put the little blue heart on there as well. Okay. VersaFine Onyx Black works great for sentiments. Yes, I agree. Hopefully I'm not missing anything else. I'm going to go ahead and glue this tape runner in it, however you like to use adhesive on this part of my card. Now, a goal that you're having with this is that the bottoms and tops of these kind of line up together so it looks like, you know, looks nice. Oh, Deb doesn't have any stamps. You know the form that you need to fill out if that's the case. These stamps are wonderful, so you definitely want to have them. Everything should have been together in a kit from MFT. Let's see. Kelly's asking where I am. Where am I? Yeah, I was laid off from MFT back in May. And now I'm at Pink and Maine, which is super fun. I love Michelle. She's the sweetest person. But I also love MFT, and I hope they do well. And I love Hero Arts. I love everybody, you guys. Seriously. This whole industry is awesome. All right. I just put a little dot of glue there because it was popping up. I didn't put any adhesive in that corner. That's all I just did. If you saw me do something weird without telling you what it is. Okay, now we're going to dive into our little flower arrangement here. And what I did for this is I glued it all to the back of my mason jar and then put that whole thing onto my card. So we're going to put that aside. Well, no, here, I'll put this on here so we can put it on the here. Oh my goodness, Libby. And I'm going to do the inking on my little piece here. I lost my little mat. I don't know where I put it. Oh, well, no worries. I do need my blue brush though. And like I mentioned, thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So I think I still have enough blue in my brush here to just brush it on. See, look at that. I have tons of blue in here still. So you might want to just try that rather than getting a whole bunch of ink on there and going to town with it. You probably have enough to do a little bit of soft blue blending from what's still in your brush. Okay. Kathy, I see your question. And Kim, the owner of MFT, is working super hard to keep everything up and running. So I don't know the answer to that, and I certainly hope it doesn't happen. She's a wonderful person, and the products are fabulous. And so let's all just hope it keeps on going, okay? Okay, now these little things I said in the homework, if anything's going to make you hate me, it's these little tiny flowers that we have to deal with. But they're so cute. They're worth it, right? And it's my own fault. I mentioned this in the homework too. This was my ideas of what to put in this kit. I drew it on a Post-it and gave it to Manami, who was the one drawing this kit for the class. And I wanted to have some kind of lily of the valley or something like that. I didn't get to the belly band yet, but we're going to do that in a bit. And if you notice, and I didn't notice this when she made the dies, and I wish I would have, because I would have said, wait, don't do that. Some of them are bigger than others. And so when you look at this, some of the little flower places are bigger than others. I wish they were all exactly the same, but they're not. So we're going to just, be careful. Like That's one of the bigger ones. That's one of the bigger ones. It's hard to see, but you know, I think if you get it close enough, it's fine. You don't have to have the exact flower on the exact thing, but having them all the same would have been so much easier. Oh, goodness. Okay, so this is where I'm going to use my little pickup tool. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put dots of glue. I'm going to try to do all of them. Let's see. I might have to redot if it gets too dry as I'm doing this. Just putting dots of glue right on the little places that they're going to go. And then I'm going to pick them up with my little tool here and put them down. And then I need to kind of, I'm going to have to do it with my fingers here. Try to get them all on there, and then I'll put something heavy on it to help them set. I feel like I knocked too much glue off of this with my big old finger. This is when I feel like what Tim says, right? My pork chop hands, my pork chop fingers. Trying to get these little pieces on here. Okay. I don't need to rush, so I'm not going to be crazy here. Let's just take our time and get these little pieces on here. And I did knock off my glue with my fingers, so that master plan didn't do well at all. Can you guys see me okay? I am basically just getting these little tiny pieces on here. And I know some of you were smart and probably did it in the homework so you wouldn't misplace the pieces and you would have it done. And that's great as well. Yeah, my plan of putting glue on all of them at first was not good. Scratch that. Let's just do one at a time here. That looks like a bigger one, so I'm going to put a bigger one there. Okay, I've been staring at my little flowers. Did I miss anything from you guys? So mine is not completely perfect, but it is good enough. Okay. Yeah. And then I'm going to put my block, which I lost, of course, right in front of me, on that to dry, and I'm going to tackle the second one, okay? Toothpicks to move things around are a good idea. I also sometimes use this end of it to help move things around when I need to. Okay, and I hope you guys have a little fine-tipped glue, because that definitely makes this easier to get these on here. And I don't know, I find it easier to keep it in my hand to do it. I'm sure some of you do it flat on your desk, and that's easier for you, whatever works. Just whatever it takes to get her done. Sorry, I'm going quiet mode while I do this. I'm concentrating so hard on these flowers. It takes everything I have. And don't worry, we're almost done with this one, but there's more to do on the next card. So, oh no, Shaylin, is that how you say your name? Flinging stuff all over the place. It sounds like something I would do for sure. If these would just go on straight to begin with, that would make my life easier, but they aren't doing that. And that one just fell right off. Ah, okay. These are so tiny. Tell them what the name of the tray is. Name of the tray. It's from Spellbinders, and it is, what do they call it? I know some of you in the comments know. It has a name to it. Let's see if somebody says it. But it is from Spellbinders, and I love it. I think it's so handy for keeping your die cuts in. So I definitely recommend. Craft stack. Thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Whew. That took me 500 years. This one's off a little. Fix that. Okay. Whew. How you guys doing? Your flowers done? Craft stacks. Better than horrible. Yes. I say that all the time too. I mean, because Gina taught me that phrase and it's so fitting most of the time. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp hugs on my jar before we start anything. I don't know why I didn't finish my jar. I got a little sidetracked by doing my flowers, I guess. So let's go ahead. Why am I? Well, I'm not ink blending, but I put it in there anyway. And I actually put my hugs on a little block, but if you want to stick yours in your Misty, feel free. I'm going to be brave here. I'm going to go ahead and find something to stamp off on just to make sure. Yeah, don't sneeze. Don't do anything. I'm using archival black. I don't know why. It's just, it was just what I grabbed. So any black ink that you like to use is totally fine. This one's fine for me. Hopefully, because I don't have two chances. Hugs. I know, Nicole. They're a little bit of a pain in the patootie, I'll say it. But they are cute once you get them done. Oh, goodness. All right. And then I put my other blue heart that I made. I'm off camera here. My other blue heart I put right on my little jar. So this is probably going to be a fail. I'm going to put that in my hands. Is it CZ that, Kathy, are you the one that says free range stamping? Is that who I just stole that from? See, you guys all influence me with my language in my classes. But it's a good thing to call it. That oozed everywhere. Ooh, okay. So there's my little hugs jar. Miss Judy B. It was in the homework and stuff, but I used the white cardstock that came in the kit, and then I colored it with inks to make the colored paper myself in colors that match the pattern paper that we got. But if you wanted to just die cut all these things from your stash, from light green, dark blue, light blue, that is totally okay as well. But all the colored ones that we did it from panels that were inked up is how I did it for the class. So examples, inked up, direct to paper, and then cut them out, okay? All right, so now let's go ahead and build our flower mason jar full of flowers like this. So you can see I took one of the little leaves and I just folded it right over my jar. So we can start with him. And literally, I just took it like this and just folded it over like that, okay? And glue these down as you go. Pouncing on with ink after is a great idea too. I was worried personally that it would be too tiny to try to get ink on, but the pouncers probably work perfect for that. But I just liked to create my own cardstock with the ink. And you can do that with any, pattern paper that you have and you want to have some ink, what am I trying to say? Solid paper to match. You can always just ink it up with inks because you guys, I'm sure, have a variety of ink colors that can match all kinds of things. All right, now this little leaf coming out of the jar, I'm going to put next. Now, if you look, I don't know if you can see the detail, but I'm kind of building from front to back so that I, can get all the things at the level I want them, I guess you could say. So for this one, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right here at the bottom part of it and put it here in my jar coming off to this side. Squeeze it for a minute. Bits of glue and everything from my grimy fingers. All right, now I'm going to come in with my cute little flowers that we built and put some glue just down here on the stem. And put this one kind of behind here. And again, this may not end up looking exactly like my original, but it'll be in the ballpark of it. Putting some glue on the bottom of this stem. Putting it right up over here. My stomach just literally growled so loud. I hope you guys didn't hear that. I shouldn't have pointed it out, but it made me laugh, so I had to. And I'm going to put this kind of behind here. I did kind of get glue all over the place. I put more than I needed, but that helps this one kind of glue to it and have more stability anyway. Okay, and then this last one I'm going to put over to the other side. Now you have these products. If you wanted to fill in with more flowers or different flowers, you are more than welcome to do that. You can make this your own however you want it. You thought it was Karen, you thought it was your stomach? That's funny. Yeah, this morning, I'm not going to lie, it was a little bit of a whirlwind because I had plans of what I was going to do today to get ready for tomorrow, right? And then I get a text from Catherine. I'm like, okay, all right. So we're going to get everything set up. And of course, sadly, I kind of messed up the beginning of this with my new setup. That was dumb. But the belly band I have not done yet, so you have not missed anything with that. We're going to do that last. This is my example from the original card, okay? All right, so now we're going to take our little bits for our belly band. So we were making this to go on the belly band, right? And so the back of it looks like a hot mess, but it doesn't matter because it's going to be the other way around, obviously. So let's go ahead, make sure I'm not forgetting anything here. Let's go ahead and put our piece of plaid on our craft. And then I popped up my jar. So I kind of put some foam tape behind the big leaves and on the jar itself. Let's see if those are narrow enough. When I have big squares like this, if I need a smaller piece, you guys I'm sure know this, but just in case, I just cut them with my scissors to make them the size that I need. And again, I like to put a little glue on the back of my foam just to help it have a little more give if I don't have it exactly where I want it to begin with. And I'm just going to center that on this panel. Try not to make it crooked. Okay, there we go. You guys, it's my pleasure. My pleasure to step up. No problem at all, because I know I would be so worried if I were Kelly, so I'm happy to help her out. Okay. Ooh, I had a wet wipe sitting next to my card. That's not good. So to do the belly band, all I did, I'm not going to tell you where to score it or anything like that. Maybe that would be better. I don't know. But I tried doing that, and when I went to put my belly band on, it was too tight. So I find it's best to just put it on here and then just fold it around, okay? Just like this. And you want it to be tight, but not like ridiculous tight that you won't be able to slide it on and off. You also want to make sure that you're not putting the seam over too far where it won't be covered, which I was very close to doing that. So when I started this, I was that way a little too much. You might want to do it more centered. But literally just put your panel that we made down and just bend it around. okay? And then we're going to put some glue on there. You know what, duh, I can actually just trim that. If you came a little too far that you're worrying about it being too far over, just trim it. Okay, and I'm going to put some, I think I'll use my liquid glue because it's a super strong adhesive. And I'm going to put this here. I see Melinda saying she hadn't done the homework for this. You know what's really funny / ironic is that my sister-in-law, Lori, who was here in the room with me, was up until literally the wee hours of last night getting the honeybee homework done. And then she, you know, just kind of funny that that's, you know, she didn't even need to because that's going to be tomorrow. So just made me laugh. Sorry, Lori. All right, so then you're just going to center this on here. So let's just go ahead and put some adhesive. I don't know. I'm going back and forth with the adhesive. Use whatever adhesive you want to use. And you want this to be kind of straight and centered on here. It doesn't really matter. I'm kind of putting it in the center-ish, but it doesn't matter. You can slide it up and down your card as much as you want. Do we glue the blue folded piece to a card base? The blue folded piece. I'm not sure what that means. And this now, see this? I think the whole card. You made your card. Yeah, this is my base. Like there's no white folded card base to this at all. This is our card. So now that we have the thing done, this is your card that you would give to somebody, just like this with the fun fold. So you would open it like that. You would make your personal message here, and that's the card, guys. If you wanted to have that also on a card base, you are more than welcome to, but that's not the plan for this card, okay? Yeah, I'm sure there was several of you who were not ready for this one because of the change in plans. You're going to do MFT homework later, so thank you for being here. And, you know, all these classes are going to be available for replay, so if you weren't quite ready to actually make along and you're just here watching, that's great too. Oh, my hands are not working well. There we go. So that's it. That's card number 2. I hope you guys like that one as well. And again, I made a, oops, that's not it. I made a second card just to show you with other MFT products, the same style of card, but a totally different look. So here one is with the adorable flamingo set, right? And that's on my belly band. And then I made a pink version with flamingo. Same kind of card, totally different look, not sympathy. Really cute, right? How are you guys doing? Are you in the same place as me, pretty much, if you're making along? So there's my belly band cards. And if you think your person you're giving it to wouldn't know what the heck to do, again, if you don't want to have the belly band, you can just make a flat card with this on the front and call it good. All right. Put this one back together, and then we'll get set for our final card of the class. On social media. Yeah, I can put them on social media. I think, you know, you guys are like, I need the flamingo set. I'm not sure if it's in stock right now. If you go to MFT website, a lot of things are out of stock. Kim is working to be able to restock things, but anything that you're interested in there, I believe there's a notify me, and you could put notify me and then find out when things come back in stock. But all this is MFT, the cute little scalloped scallop eyelet stitched rectangles. This is the Genoblade flamingo set. I can't remember exactly what it's called. I could look it up. But yeah, it's all MFT stuff. There's tons of cute stuff on the website. But if it's out of stock, you just put notify me, and then you'll find out when it comes back, okay? All right. Card number 3 is next. And this one does not have any fun folds. I did not put mine on a card base, but this is one where you would glue it on either a top folding or side folding base of your choice. I just made the front. I'm bad about that. I don't always make full cards because when you want to photograph them and stuff, you like them to be flat. And so having it on a base isn't always helpful. Hold on one second, guys. I have a little liquid issue I want to fix real quick. This drink is bleeding everywhere. Okay. All right. What did I knock over? I don't know. What card? Yeah, MFT is wonderful.
The belly band sandwich between the cards.
The belly band is around the whole thing. See that? So that's what we made. So it goes around this whole card that we created. Does that make sense? We didn't have a discount code at MFT because at the time that they were being gathered, things were like on huge sale at MFT anyway. And I imagine that when she gets things back in stock, there will be more big sales eventually. So just look out for that. But no, there isn't a coupon code for this one, unfortunately. I got a little green blob on my card, so ignore that. We don't want that. All right, so our next die cutting that we did. There's a lot of pieces to this one. We're going to do a lot of flower arranging. That's the main part of this whole card. We'll get started on that in a second, but first let's get the other things done that we need for our card. So in this one, we're going to use the stencil that came in the kit, and we're going to stencil with the light green ink. And then we have our card panels, and again, the sizes are listed in the homework area. But on the middle, there's 3 sizes of white, and in the middle, matte. So we have white, white, white. The middle sized one is what we're going to use to color the edges green to make it have this green border. And I inked it again, but if you have a green cardstock in your stash, you are welcome to do that as well. She did not put it. Oh, no, you're right. I did not sandwich it. That would have been cute. You guys, that's a good idea. You could have sandwiched your belly band between these 2 panels, like between the plaid and the craft. I didn't realize that's what was being asked. I did not do that. I just put my whole panel on top of it. But if you wanted to sandwich it, that would be super cute as well. Then it would come right in there. Yeah, so that's a great idea. Okay. So, inks. So again, I was going to look up the size just to say the right things here. So our white panels are 3 3/4 by 4 3/4, 3 1/2 by 4 1/2, and 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 is the smallest one. So we're going to take that middle one, which is the 3 1/2 by 4 1/2, and that is the one that we're going to ink up these edges. Let me hold on a second, guys. I'm going to do it direct to paper. You can do it 2 ways, right? You can either take a blending tool and blend on the ink all nicely, or you can just take your pad and just, whoops, whoa, okay. Mine's super juicy, didn't realize. You can just do it like this, quick and easy, right? And then this is going to take some drying time because it's super duper juicy. But we only need it along those edges. And I'm going to set that aside to dry, and it'll smooth out and it'll be nice by the time it's dried. All right. And so that is a quick and easy way to get a little mat of a color you want on a piece of cardstock. Just a little bit right there. And I think on the original, I probably ink blended it because it's a little softer, but this is also super wet and it's going to dry back a little lighter. Yeah, my pad was super juicy. I thought most of them were a little on the dry side, so that surprised me. But see how quick and easy that was. But if you want to take a blending brush and ink blend that on, you're welcome to as well. Or if you just want to find a dark green cardstock in your stash and use that, you're welcome to. So whichever way you want to do it, it's all good. So let me clean off my mat here real quick because I'm also going to do some stenciling. Okay. Now, there's several ways you can do your stenciling setup. If you have one of those sticky mats, that's great. You can use that. If you have a Make Art Station, that's great. You can use that. The size panel that I just inked is the one that is, now look on page 107 of the book in the homework. There's 3 white panels listed for card number 3, and I use the middle sized one, which is the 3.5 by 4.5. Okay. Now I'm taking the smallest of the 3, which is the 3.25 by 4.25, and this is what I'm going to ink up with my stencil. Now, like I was saying, you could use a sticky mat, you could use a make art station, whatever you like to use for stenciling is fine. I'm just going to take some tape. I love my Spellbinders yellow tape, whatever they call it, best ever tape. I don't know what they call it, but that's what I'm using. And I don't even need this anymore. I cleaned it, but I don't really need it. And on this one, I'm going to use my lightest of the greens to do just a little bit of stenciling. Now on this, similar to how on the first card, we started with the darkest ink at the bottom and got lighter as we went up with our ink blending. This one, we're going to stencil more in the center and just go lighter out and basically have no ink around the edges. So when you're doing your blending through the stencil, and again, if you see what I did, I just taped it on the back side, back side. So if it rips, I don't care, it's on the back. And that's how I like to do stencils, okay? Sometimes I use my sticky mat, but sometimes I do this. I'm going to grab my green brush. Not sure if I have ink in this or not. I might just try with the brush. All right. So again, we're going to start darker in the middle and go lighter as we get to the edges. Heather likes the name of the stencil. The stencil is called Stroke of Genius. I think it's just funny. I don't even know why we called it that, but all right. So see how I have it darker here in the center. Dark, 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 and then just lighter, easier with my hand as I go out all around these edges. So I'm trying to have like a gradation of color where it's darker in the center and lighter as we go out. And I didn't even open up my ink. I just used what was left in my brush. But if you wanted to use your ink pad, it's the lightest of your 2 greens that you're using, okay? I can kind of peek and see if I love how it's looking. I think that's good. I kind of even went farther up than I meant to, but I don't mind that at all. Okay, is that good for you guys? Lisa, you have no idea how many times I went over and over and over those measurements to make sure I didn't mess them up when I was doing the instructions. Like I measured it and then I measured it again and then I measured it again because I did not want to get it wrong. All right, so my green is still drying, so I'm not gonna put this all together yet because I want that to dry a little more, and I might even hit it with my heat tool to make sure it gets really dry because it was super soggy with ink. All right, so that's it for the stenciling. Just that little bit on our background to give it a little something something on our card, right? And now we're gonna do some more flower arranging. Actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and get our message stamped on this, because then you'll have a guide when you're making your flower arrangement. It's pretty big, and you want it to fit along with the message. Yeah, okay. Like, did I make my panel the right size? All right, so I'm gonna grab my Misty again. All right, make sure it's in my corner good. And on this one I'm holding you close in my thoughts. So you're sending somebody that you're thinking of a really pretty flower arrangement. I'm putting it down pretty much at the bottom. Hopefully that's straight-ish. And again, if you want to use a different message, you're welcome to. And I'm sorry if I'm not going in the same order as my instructions. I forgot to peek at that and see. That looks pretty good, but I think I'll just go over it one more time for good measure. Clean that off real quick so I can put it away. Bring my hugs go? I'm going to put that away while I'm at it. Thank you, Gina K. Ooh, compliment from Gina K makes me happy. She's so good. Okay. Holding you close in my thoughts. Putting my hugs away as well. All right. Now we'll start our flower arranging, okay? So we have all our parts for our base ready to go when we get there. Oh, Gina, thank you. All right, so I'm going to start by putting my little dastardly branches, blooms together, whatever this fake flower. It's not, these aren't real flowers. We just, drew fake flowers, but some of these are upside down. I'm going to just really quick make sure they're all the right way so I don't put any on upside down accidentally. Here we go, ready to go. Again, I'm going to get my pickup tool thing, and I'm going to use my liquid glue, little dots of it. And those of you who did this during the homework are smart. I love that script font on the sayings as well. I think it's so pretty, the mixed font of those messages. It's a beautiful set, and I just think it's a really great one to have in your stashes. So I'm glad that we were able to put it in this kit so that you have it to use beyond my class in whatever way you need it. I think I put, oh my gosh, I can't get that one straight. There we go. I think that's a good example. I think I used too small of a flower on that one, but oh well. Oh well, oh well. It'll look pretty in the end, I have faith. When they stick more to my thumb than than my stalk, my stem, that's not good. There we go. Looks like a bigger one. Okay. That one back over. Again, I get quiet when I'm concentrating on these flowers. Okay, a couple more on this one, and then we'll do number 2. Thank goodness I didn't put 3 on any of these. I disobeyed the rule of 3s on on my flower stems, but all right, I'm going to put my block over that to let the glue dry and set. I love that, calling this a mise en place. It's like I did all my chopping before the class. I know the white cardstock is wonderful, isn't it? The SCT whites that they send in the kit is fabulous. Love it. All right. More glue. Bigger flower at the top this time, unlike my last one where I think I put too small of one. So again, I mentioned on card number 1, but no, on card number 2 actually. But anyway, there's a little bit of a difference in some of the sizes of these flowers. So make sure you're kind of noticing that and putting smaller ones where it's a smaller little spot for it and bigger in the bigger ones. And again, I wish I would have noticed that because I think they should have all been the same size and made our lives easier, but it's still cute, right? It's still cute. I'm glad you guys are loving the stamp set. I'm glad it'll be useful for you. You guys have no idea how hard it is when a company has, done hundreds of stamp sets to keep coming up with messages. It gets so repetitive, and you try your best to make things useful and different, but it's really hard to just keep generating all these different messages. So you're going to see stuff repeated because it's impossible not to. There's only so many things you can say in a stamp set, right? But I will say MFT has had some really, really great ones over the years. And they just had another message set release actually back, I think July. I don't know if it's in stock right now, but it is a good one to look at because they had several message sets with great messages in them. I think that's one thing MFT's always done really well, are the message sets. How would you use the smallest circle in the sunflower? I think, Lara, I don't think it's actually for the sunflower. I think it works better in the center of this flower. So I think it's actually made for this one. You could have that be, if you don't have it in sunflower colors, we're talking about this, the little die that this is on has let me see, where's mine? This is what we're talking about here. That die has the yellow, the piece that we're using for sunflowers, which are this and this, but you also got all those dots when you were die cutting. And I think those work well in the center of this flower. But you could also make this not a sunflower and just make it a 3-colored flower and have this and then have another dot in the center of that. So however you want to make your flowers it's all good. It's all up to you. All right. So let's go ahead and put centers in our sunflowers. And by the way, as you're playing with this set after my class, if you wanted to add a little ink blending to the edges to make your flowers have more dimension, that would be a fun thing to do. For example, on this one, you could have taken a brown ink and just done a little bit of blending on the edges so that it's more dimensional looking. You could even do that for your cards for class if you wanted to, but I'm not taking the time to do it on this, but that's a way you can really make these flowers be even more useful in different ways, if that makes sense. All right, I'm just putting my blue flowers on their stems. Oh, oops, I did it backwards. I put that on top of that, but please note that this looks cute if you do it the other way, which is what I did on my card, where you have that green coming right up onto the blue. So that's how I'm going to do the other two, and I apologize, I did the first one wrong. So I'm putting glue on the back of my green. Ooh, you can't even see that. On the back of the green, and then I'm putting it right on top of my flower instead of behind it. Here's the difference. So you could do it either way. I think it's cute to have the green on top though. So whichever way you want to do it is fine. And then you could also layer these. Like you could have a light blue and then like a dark blue behind it if you wanted to have it be more dimensional, or reds, or whatever color you want to make your flowers. But different ways to use it. Cynthia's asking if Kim and MFT were in the path of the storm. They're over more near Orlando. MFT is in a town called Eustis, and Kim lives in Leesburg, and they're fine. They had, some rain and everything, but they are totally fine over there, thankfully. And Michelle, of course, is over more towards Tampa Bay, south of Tampa Bay for Pink and Maine, and she's fine too, thankfully. I was very worried, but yes, both companies are fine. Okay. All right. So now, let's start putting everything into our mason jar. And I think, again, on this one, I built it and then glued it down. I did this one flat on the card, and I didn't do foam or anything, but you could really go to town to get things layered up and stuff. I just kind of kept it simple. Jennifer's liking my block. I love this block. This is Share Handmade Kindness, which is Jennifer's slogan, motto. And this is made by Bossy Jossie. If you love these kind of blocks, I also have the Big Daddy. And they're just so handy to put down on top of things as you're gluing things and wanting them to set. So let's see, what time are we at? 2 o'clock. I have another half hour, I think, right? Okay, I'm doing okay. Which, by the way, Catherine, you need to warn Kelly that tomorrow's class is a half hour shorter. But just thought of that. Good thing I had more time. Okay, putting this here. And again, I'm just going to kind of build this up from, can you see this all okay? And again, you have the picture in your book as well. I'm just going to try to build this up. I think I'm going to add the green leaves very last. I'm going to put this over, going to the side like this. I had it kind of far in like that. I'm going to take one of these and have it go off to the side. Okay, I'm going to take my other little cute little, whatever you call it, flowers. Yeah, none of these flowers are reality, you know, they're just from our imagination, but pretty. Put this one next in the center. I'm going to add those little sunflowers at the end as well. Sunflowers and leaves. I'm going to kind of tuck in there once I get these bigger stems done. Okay. This is where I'm at. I'm just gluing a little bit at the bottom of the stems and then just kind of squeezing it all together. Getting glue all over my fingers. My fingers are very inky and dirty and they look kind of nasty. And I sorry for my lack of nail polish. Goodness. All right, this is where we're at right now. I think I'm going to glue this to my card and then I'm going to add these. You can see that if you look closely, this sunflower is just kind of floating up there. It doesn't even have a stem. Neither does this one. I just kind of popped them in and you can't really even tell. They just all look so cute together. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get this on my flower. Oh, you guys, I mentioned that you might want to make sure your arrangement's not getting too tall for your panel, and I totally forgot to do that. So let's get some glue on this. Glue here, there, and everywhere. Then I'm going to tuck those other things in once it's down. Okay. And I didn't ink the edges of this mason jar like I did on card number 2. But if you love that look, you're welcome to add some as well. So this guy, I'm just going to kind of tuck in here and think about what you want to have forward, what you want to be able to see better than other things. Oops. I want to maybe see a little more of that blue flower. And I actually had him on top of my little blooms. Okay. And this one, I kind of did the add 3 sunflowers because of rule of 3 type of situation. I think I need him to be kind of bent down more to the side. So I'm going to scoot him over. Why I'm giving my flowers genders, I don't know, but I am. And before that liquid glue gets too adhered, I want to tuck these under this sunflower. Ooh, oh man, look what I did. Kind of squishing that down. Ooh, Annette has a fun idea. Very, very lightly do some of that stenciling on your jar. Got goobers on there. And then it would look like it's clear and you're looking through. You could also do vellum. I thought of making the jar vellum, but I didn't want to add another request to poor Catherine, who already has to add so many things to these boxes. But that would have been fun as well. kind of putting some leaves tucked behind this sunflower. So in my mind, these darker green leaves kind of go with the sunflowers on this card. And so I'm kind of adding 2 to each sunflower. And I have my 2 left that are going to be over here to the side of my jar. And again, they're not in exactly the same places as my original card, but it doesn't matter. It's all just kind of a, general idea of where to place things, but sometimes it doesn't always go the same. Yeah, I just saw your comment, Darcel. Yes, my fingers are definitely decorated with ink. All right, so there she is all together. However you wanted to do yours is great too. Okay. And put that to the side. So now I need to just, build up my layers. So when I put mine on my base, I put white and green flat on the card, and then I popped up this panel. If you want to do it like that, like I did it, you're welcome to. This is still a little wet. That ink was just so wet. Oh my goodness. I have this pretty green plaid that we're using. And there's you have more papers, I believe, in your kit than you'll need for my class. So you could switch things up. You could make more of these cards with different plaids. You could do all kinds of things. What pound vellum for the jar? I mean, that's totally up to you. I have both a paperweight and a cardstock vellum. That is not nice. I need a new blade on my trimmer, apparently. So I don't know, it just depends. I find the cardstock weight of vellum a little easier to use sometimes because it's less opaque, and so it's easier to use an adhesive with it. But ooh, what's that? Okay, in the home stretch here. Last bit of foam tape, and I can't get my little papers off. My fingers are not working. I would say, I see Darcel about hard to guess that this was an MFT class. I would say this is definitely MFT style, though. They've done lots of flower dyes that are, somewhat similar look. So I don't think it's unusual for MFT. I think the plaid is very MFT. I think the messages are very MFT. So, all right, there we go. My greens are slightly different, but that's okay. Where can you buy the cardstock? I mean, lots of people have it. I would say a lot of the companies probably at this event have cardstock weight vellum. If anyone has some good suggestions, I love the Hero Art stuff. I have that. MFT has it. I'm not sure if it's in stock. Lots and lots of places. I'm sure scrapbook.com does. They're right here in the comments. Okay, so that's it. That's all our cards. Yay. I didn't make a second version of this one to show you because it's, and again, if you wanted to take this and put this on your card base, because I only made a card front, you want to put that on either top folding or side folding, whichever you prefer. It's all ready to go on your base. And we had this Sympathy card, and then we had our gatefold. So those are our cards from class. So let me go ahead and go back to my face for a second. How would I adhere the vellum? Well, I haven't made that card, but I would probably try to hide it behind something, or I would use, if I used a liquid glue, I would kind of wipe it across the whole vellum jar so that you don't see any streaks in it, and then it would kind of blend in with the jar, I think. All right. So I hope you guys had fun today in class, and I hope you got your cards made, or if not, you'll be able to finish them later. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you again to Scrapbooking Cards Today, to Catherine, Megan, Jen, everybody there for allowing me to be at this event. It's so fun to be here. I absolutely love it. It's the best event there is. It's so much fun and so many wonderful people here. So thank you guys. Have a good little break until the next class. Hopefully I didn't go over. I don't know. I don't even know. So thank you guys. I really appreciate being here and it was so much fun. So thank you guys and take care. And I can't find my mouse to turn this off, so we might be here for a while. Like literally. Well, that's fun. Okay, I found it. Yay. All right. Thank you guys so much and take care, everybody. Bye.